welcome to November Foxtrot, the show where Jackie Weaver has given us power to. Well, she's had the authority. We have the authority, Jackie Weaver.
We've all got the authority, Jackie. Yes.
Oh, blimey. How are we, gents?
Good.
Are we all good? All good?
Sweet.
Everyone doesn't know, this is Dan. Say hello, Dan.
Hi, guys. Hello, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Hi, Rage in the chat.
Evening, gents. Evening, Rage. No, before you ask, I still haven't got your comms pouch. So just stop there. All right. And Gaz, when he joins, let him know, Rage, when he joins, that he hasn't got one either.
Yeah, there's a big thing. There's a big thing going on about your comms pouch when they're Lance.
Oh, mate. Yeah. Hopefully, we'll have something else to talk about soon when it arrives.
It's the new meme.
It's the new meme.
You've got pouches for pouches, mate.
I love it.
Love a pouch.
I love a pouch. Place for everything, everything in its place.
That's it. You can't find it when it comes to it.
Not a clue. Not a fucking clue where that is.
Which one's it in? Which one's it in?
Where's that phone ringing from? Where's that phone ringing from?
Rage File says, I'm an NHS hero. I deserve a comms pouch for my service.
Well, you best speak to the NHS about that, mate. Yeah. Must be an empty saline bag hanging about the place. So you can drop the radio in. You get that UV9R, the new Bofang. Apparently, that's fully waterproof. Just plop it in that. Blop. Sorted. Have comms and saline.
That's it.
All good.
I'll
all
let
good.
A few more people join. Gents, remember, if anyone wants to get in touch, you can email us at nofochat@hotmail.com. Instagram, November_Foxtrot completely fudged that up. November_Foxtrot_Nofo.
Underscore.
I'm going to let it come back on the screen because I was just reading it off there as well. On Instagram, Facebook, we are at November Foxtrot Nofo, and YouTube, you can find us with November Foxtrot.
All really easy to remember.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
It's basically, if you just type in some element of November and Foxtrot into one of these social media things, you'll find us. So it's all good.
Evening, gentlemen. Lee, Barney, thanks for coming along, chaps.
Hi, Barney. Hi, Lee.
Right, Mike, what are we discussing tonight, mate? The anchor man.
Let's introduce Dan first. You know, obviously,
well, that was it. That's what it's going to lead on to.
Yeah, Dan's joined us. Dan, who are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah, been working hard and
hello, who are you? How are you?
There's too much work and not enough play at the moment, so
definitely, mate, definitely.
So it's, we're all waiting, aren't we? All waiting to get back out to the norm.
We're sort of three amigos tonight, aren't we? All from the Punishers Z13 team, Airsoft team.
Yeah, mate.
So yeah, Dan's one of the originals.
Yeah, original bad boy.
One of the old guard. So, Dan, talk to us, mate. So, what brought you into to Airsoft and getting predominantly into MilSim after that?
Yeah, okay. So, I must have been only 13, 14, and me and my sister's ex, we went down to Portsmouth, and there was a site down near Portsmouth, and we went there, and it was absolutely epic. Even though I was using a rented gun, it was a pile of shit gun, but you know. It was okay. We had a great time. We had an absolutely fantastic time. And then I thought, oh, I really want to do that again. And it was like years passed. And then Lance's cousin, he deals in bits and pieces to do with Airsoft, and he offered us a couple of packages. Lance messaged me, do you want to go in and should we both get one of these little packages with a MP5 and a handgun and where else?
There's a few bits of bobs in there. Yeah, come with a holster and a couple of bits.
It was all bright orange,
Yeah, non-new car had up at the time, so we had to get all two-toned and running there like something out of Tron.
Yeah, so we bought these little boxes off of Jake, and he sent them through to us, and we opened them up. We were like a couple of kids, like shooting them down his garden and. Yeah, we had to and as soon as that happened, that was it. We were on the internet. Right, we need to find somewhere to go and play Airsoft. And that must have been about 2014, 15.
Yeah, thereabouts.
And we were like, right, let's go do it. And we went for was it Apocalypse we went to first, was it?
That was our first sort of skirmish day, mate.
Yeah.
You know. Turned up completely green, just like, huh?
We arrived there, and when we turned up there, there's all these guys with all these like guns like that looked amazing, and we pulled out these little blue and orange things. Like, oh, shit.
All right,
Like,
lads.
how do we get one of these guns that look better than what we've got? Anyway, so we went through and we played the game, and we absolutely loved it. Fell in love with it. It was great fun. And since then, we've been doing it. We've done a lot of skirmish after that, didn't we? We did a
fair few games, yeah, just to get a feel for the game and what it's all about and that, yeah.
And then Big John came up to us and was like, "You should try out a MilSim." We were like, "Right, what's a MilSim for a beginning? Like, what is it?" And he was like, "Oh mate, it's for hardcore. It's hardcore, blah blah blah." So we were like, "Oh okay, we fancy that. We really did." And yeah, went to our first MilSim, and then that was it. We sort of dropped the skirmishes, and we were pretty much just MilSim. That was it, straight through. We'd obviously go to the odd day here, day there, test kit and that, but yeah, mainly skirmish, mainly MilSims. But yeah, so yeah, and it's just been great. It's great. Get out with a lot of guys in the woods and have a beer, have a fire at night, and you know when you can and if you can. And yeah, it's good. It's good. It gets you out of the house for the weekend, and
definitely, mate. Yeah, blow the cobwebs off.
Good times. Yeah, good times. Good fitness as well.
Yeah. That's loads of that's needed at the moment. Ooh. Yeah, nursing a baby. Yeah. Need to get back to it.
Anyone in the chat, if you've got any questions for Dan, throw them in. We'll sort of stop a few times throughout the episode. And
anything at all. Hasn't got to be airsoft related.
Ask him anything.
Could be anything about life, anything general like that. Yeah, Brexit. Bring him on. Yeah. Anybody who's got authority.
I'll sort it all out.
Oh, welcome, James. Yeah, James Hanna. Yeah, he messaged me earlier talking about comms pouches, funny enough. There's no link there. No link there to Rageophile at all. This is a genuine question. This wasn't a piss take or anything. So, yeah, welcome along, James. Thanks for joining us, mate. Appreciate that. So, yeah, all good.
Cool. Well, this week we are talking about how to get the most out of a MilSim event. Obviously, you know, we've talked about bits and pieces on kit. But, you know, there's other things that you need to consider when going to an airsoft event. And the first of these things is that we're going to talk about is mindset, attitude, mental acuity, open mind, and conduct. So, Lance, do you want to kick us off with the mindset?
No, you kick it off. You said
I'll kick off with the mindset then. That's a great mindset there. Nice one. Thanks, Lance.
No.
So, I mean, from my perspective, with mindset, you know, it's a case of you rock up to an airsoft event, get involved. Just get involved. If somebody says, "Oh, do you want to go and be on guard for a couple of hours?" Yeah, I'll go do that. Just, you know.
Yeah. I mean, especially if it's your first event. I mean, you're not going to know what to expect. But I mean, you got to turn up sort of willing to take part, willing to get involved. You got to imagine, like, I mean, I certainly want to turn up to my first ever event, first ever MilSim, and say, "Oh, look, do you want to go and do this op sort of thing?" And it'd be quite daunting sort of thing. But if you've got a team of guys that have done it a few times before, or you're put into a section where there's a few guys who have experienced MilSimmers, then yeah, why not? Go and do it. Give it a go. It's a game at the end of the day. If it balls it up, you balls it up. You know for next time, you learn from it. So, yeah, exactly. But I mean, obviously, like Mike said, turning up to the event, we're looking forward to it. Obviously, you're going to have a bit of apprehension and all that, but it's nothing to worry about. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's a weekend away, having a game or something. So, you know, but yeah, when it comes to the mindset, it's just go with a bit of confidence behind you. And look forward to it. Do you know what I mean? Don't be worried about it or anything like that. And enjoy, just the main thing about it is enjoying yourself. You know, you paid in some instances you paid quite a lot of money to take part in it, and you want to get the most out of it that you can. And if you're sort of being a bit withdrawn and sitting back and not wanting to get involved, then you're sort of going to spoil it for yourself. So you sort of like give yourself a bit of a kick up the arse just to I'll do it. Okay, yeah, I'll do it. Why not?
Yeah, but we've had guys, haven't we, on MilSims before, like completely just sit back, turn up, pay £100 for the weekend, and be like, and they just sit back, and you're like, and we'd be like, right, who wants to go on this little task? And they're like, and they just completely sit there and be like, I don't know whether they're shy or what, but they'll be, they're moved to the back of the crowd or whatever, and
that's really exactly, yeah. Or you get people who seem to have paid to go on an event, and they'll turn up and they'll set up the fob, and that'll be it then. Every time you're looking for a call sign, it'd be like, where are they? They're like, oh, they're back at the fob. It's like, you've been here since this morning. What are you doing? Yeah, we're just having this. We're just doing that. It's like, guys, this is not an event. This is not what you do. You need to get out there. You can't just sit here for the week. You might as well just go camping for the weekend. And essentially, that's what's. But right, I know. Seriously though, mate, there was the last event we done at APOC when I was talking to Smithy. A couple of guys that had not done it before. he said they might not have not been here. He said they were barely in the field. They were literally just sat at their little area they set their bashes at. Didn't move. I'm just like, I can't see the point of that. No,
I don't get that.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If you have a bad event, you know, we've all had something that's kind of pissed us off for a little bit. You might want to take yourself out for a little bit and stuff like that. But you know, the more you put in, I think, the more you get out of it. So, you know, I mean, all right, nobody enjoys standing there for 2 hours staring off into the dark with the prospect of just getting shot in the face randomly at any point in that time. But at the end of the day, that's why you're there.
You go, yes! Yes! Within 2 hours as well.
Yeah. And there's like an element of camaraderie there, because obviously, you know, I've been there. I've been in a position where we are literally standing there and we've seen this little red light and we're like, oh, we're about to be attacked. And then, you know, fucking Mark 5 came in through the window. But it's that kind of like, oh, yeah, you know, we're here together. We're both miserable. It's great.
Yeah. The reason why you should be happy and me not. Come on, get in here and be miserable with me.
That's it. I mean, you've got to take the highs with the lows with a MilSim, definitely. I mean, you know, you'll get a wicked task of having to travel behind the enemy, whatever, you know, across the field, and then you might get a task of go sit up in that sanger and stay there. Yeah, like, you know, there's highs and lows, and you've got to take the lows with the highs, and you know, you just got to do that, and that's the thing about a MilSim. It's, you know, it's not just 100% running at people, shooting, blapping off thousands of rounds. It's a lot more tactical, and it's just a lot more thought about. You know, there's a lot more to think about, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. I said, mate. Yeah. I mean, that's what people need to imagine. If you're going to your first event from a skirmish day, you know, and I've said it before, you can't turn up to a MilSim expecting to just empty mags as soon as it kicks off, because it's just not the case.
Some of the best MilSims you won't fire around until maybe the second day.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly. Yeah, and a lot for me, I mean, a MilSim, when I go on an event, it's more about and I've said it before, repeat myself. It's like the field craft side of it. Do you know what I mean? And all the other little bits and bobs that go into it. Do you know what I mean? You know, like navigating the site and making sure your kit's all squared away and bits and bobs. Well,
that's it. I mean,
that's a massive part of it for me. You know, shooting is great. You know, shooting the enemy and taking players out and, you know, taking an objective and all that is fantastic. But, you know, all the patrolling side of it, you know what I mean? All your hand signals and that to your team and making sure you're all in cover. And, you know, when you finish a patrol and you can get back to your fob and think, you know, we've done that really well, guys. You know, what you guys did over there and moving forward as one unit, like extended line for a wood block or something like that. And it was, you know, spot on. And it's bits like that you remember.
And it feels good when that happens as well. Like when you've got that extended line throughout a woodland, and you do push through and you push them back and you push them back and push them back, and you actually are doing a good job of it. You actually come away from that part of the MilSim thinking, do you know what? We've actually just smashed that, and it's been really good. And you know,
and everyone's buzzing from that. And like you say, the vibe that you give off of enjoying it is infectious, and it's gonna build your team up. If you're sitting there miserable as sin, you're gonna slowly start bringing the guys down around
everyone
you.
Down.
And then everyone's gonna be pissed off. Yeah. And then that's it. Everyone will be crying and booing, and it's horrible.
It does only take one, you know, 2-3 guys on there. You say, you know, you've got a little recon team of like 3-4 guys, and they have a bit of a crap half a day. They will bring the rest of the whole team down. You know, everyone by just being so negative, and I think that's the shame. That's a shame. That's a bad thing about MilSim is the people that come along and they want to just run at people blapping off rounds, and they hate it when they're maybe not doing that. And then they say it's a crap MilSim, but it's not.
And we've had it before where we've taken our time to get into a position. Maybe we were assaulting a building, or we've got to take a section of woodland or something like that, and we've patrolled there. We've taken our time. We've got into a position where we're going to like carry out an assault, if you like, and then out of nowhere, literally, you'll get 3 guys just like Linford Christie just flying past you, and you're thinking, "What are you doing?
Yeah, why have you done that?
No one in their right mind would. It's a MilSim. It's a simulation. You're trying to act it out as realistically as you can.
We're pretending more than normal.
Do you know what I mean? And there's no way in the real world that you've got an enemy to your front in a sort of dug-in location somewhere in them woods, you know, and not going to turn around in a real life situation and go, we should just fucking run. I'll tell you what.
Just cover me and I'm going to run right at them.
The 3 of us, right? And you could imagine it, couldn't you? We'll just run at them. It'll be fine. And we're laying there and you just see him go, yeah, hit.
And then you just watch them walk back past you, and you just shake your head at them and just go,
with a red hanky on their heads, just like that.
See, I have a theory about going back to like the negative attitude. I have a theory that people not taking their hits is actually a smaller problem than the effect of people thinking that other people aren't taking their hits. So as soon as you've got one person going, oh, fucking other team aren't taking their hits, that then spreads out. You miss that person. Oh, he's not fucking taking his hit, is he? You know, and I think that, and you go back and you're moaning about it, and other people are like, oh, yeah, the enemy aren't taking their hits. And I think that is a gradual spiral.
Yeah, and that by the end of the weekend, if that starts off at the beginning of the weekend, by the end of the weekend, you can have two sides that are really
screaming.
miserable.
You're not taking your hits at each other.
They're not taking. They're still not taking.
And like, if that comes up, then all you need to do is go straight to an official, straight to a marshal, straight to the organizer, point out the person that is in question, and that needs to be briefed out to your side, to the Op4, to the Blue 4 side, and then slowly but surely, that if that same person's getting reported by the Blue 4, various different people on it, and the same for Op4 like that. It's going to get noticed. They're going to get watched, and they're going to get pulled to one side, you know. And that's why I think it's great that some events do have like a player marshal inserted within the Blue 4s. Like some event organisers, you will have an overall OC who will go out with the Blue 4 sections or whatever, and same for Op4, and they're actually a part of the company that's running the event. Plus, purely so they can keep eyes on, because it is difficult. It is difficult to do.
Of course it is.
Yeah. All right, let's just head into the chat a bit. Louise Wissell.
Oh, Christ, what's she want?
Ask Lance how many pouches he actually owns. It's becoming an issue.
I'm not prepared to divulge that information. All right, that is between me.
That was genuinely on eBay. On eBay this week, there was a lot of.
I'd like
pouches.
to disclose how many yolks he owns.
Yeah, sharp.
Lance gets pouches delivered to my house.
Thanks, big mouth.
Oh,
no. Let's go, James. James Hannah. I had a brief conversation with Lance's earlier about MilSim, but my question is: any news as when sites are opening back up? Well,
who knows, James? Honestly, mate, don't know at the minute. I mean, they've announced today that it's going to be, you know, slowly catchy monkey with releasing this lockdown restrictions and all that. So I can't see it being any time soon, to be brutally honest with you. Do you know what I mean? If some basic shops and that can't open and things like that, then, you know, I don't know.
I think there was an event I think I saw that was trying to open and then very hurriedly changed their opinion on that.
Right. Okay.
And because I think they absolutely got slated from what I gather on Facebook from a number of players that were like, "No, you're not opening. That's ridiculous."
No, it's not manageable, mate. Is it? Let's be honest. I mean, there's only certain size safe zones you've got. I mean, you could have X amount of people, but as soon as you get out into the field, you know, how do you keep 2 meters apart if you're in one? Oh, Dan's dropped out there.
Dan's gone.
We'll see you, Dan. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Dan will be back next week, ladies and gents, part 2. But yeah, honest answer, mate. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, there he is.
I'm back.
Modern technology is a great thing.
You lad.
Oh, there he is.
Miss you, Mark.
Yeah, miss you, buddy. Good to see you soon, mate. Hopefully, won't be too long.
Step 1: how much knowledge is required in advance to be able to turn up to an event and be able to keep up?
I'd say knowledge of like the game itself, sort of thing. I mean, obviously, you'll get a mission brief sent out to you, Stip, beforehand, so you'd be able to gen up on what sort of the scenario is and what's sort of required of your Op4 or Blue 4 team.
A good event, you would.
A good event. Would. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, good. Just insert that a bit there.
There are some events where you just turn up and you're like, "All right, I'm."
Yeah, you're like just stand there, like whistle goes, and you're like, okay. But I mean, a basic idea of like a basic camp skills sort of thing, like being able to set up a basher, you know, your sleep system, sort of be able to keep yourself running for sort of 24 hours dry. You know, a basic grasp of sort of field craft and sort of things like that is you know, it's very handy for you. I mean, if you're in a team of experienced guys, it's your first event, or you can go along and you know you're going to be in a fob or setting a fob up with some guys that have done it a fair few MilSims, you know, then I can't see it being a problem if you don't know how to correctly set up a basher or whatever. There'll be people there to help you, mate. I'd like to think that anyone would happily help out someone who's not too sure of doing something. I know I'd happily offer advice, you know, whether it's right or wrong. I'd definitely try and help all the time, and a lot of my guys in my team all very approachable. To help people out, yeah, definitely. So I'd say, you know, a basic knowledge, you know, if you can do some reading up. I mean, there's millions of YouTube videos on setting this up and setting that up, and what's best for this and what's best for that, you know. So yeah, I'd say a basic knowledge. I wouldn't go to my first event not knowing anything at all, but I certainly wouldn't say you need to be Bear Grylls or anything to take part in one. No, absolutely not.
Any thoughts, Dan?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, like, you know, there's always people to ask. There's always things like this to watch. You know, go through things with you, and like Lance, you've always been helpful with everybody. Like, you know, you get people messaging all the time about things, don't you? And you help them out.
Yeah, I don't know if it's me being nosy and just sticking my nose in where it's not wanted, but I always try and offer advice if I can.
So that's how you're putting your basher up, is it?
I see you there.
Yeah, no, fair dues, fair dues. David says Mike Fraser red light experience was not cool. Yep. It was David that was in the Sanger with me. There's two of us just watching this red light, and we were like, we're about to get attacked. It's definitely happening.
Where was that? At Longmore?
Yeah. Toy Soldiers Airsoft Unit, evening fellow operators. Hello.
Evening, gents.
Rage. There always seems to be a lot of teams that can be intimidating for a solo player, and it's that assumption that because it's your first, you'll be crap and get boring taskings.
Yeah, there is that. Unfortunately, that that can happen. I mean, some of the events that I've run, certainly at Apocalypse, it's a bit of a copycat from Mr. Williams at Legion Airsoft events. He writes out a proper tasking. So if he's got five sections on the Blue Force side, he'll have sort of X amount of taskings, which would be like, I don't know, QRF, mission task, combat patrol, base defense, rest period, and there'll be sort of 2 or 3 hour taskings on that, and everyone will do all of that. There's not going to be just like, the guys that have been to 20 of my events are only going to do the mission tasks and go out and do all the wicked Gucci gear, all the Gucci missions and things like that. It's going to be everyone, regardless of how many times you've been to a MilSim or to my events, are all going to be doing those tasks. Sometimes they can overrun or underrun depending on what's happened. You know what I mean? You can't odds that, but and that's sort of way I've done it when I've done the Blue Force side at APOC. Is I've allocated each section, regardless of who they are, to get a nice bite of the pie as well throughout the whole weekend. And that's probably the best way that you can run an event, so that there's no, all I've done this weekend is QRF, or all I've done is sat in a Sanger. It's like, well, no, you haven't. You know, you might have chosen to do that, but your allocated taskings have been on this chart here.
But even with those taskings, you can make them what you want. I mean, like, you know, we've been on patrols before where you bump into locals, you know, and you just have a chat with them, and you decide to pat them down, and you randomly find drugs on them if you're the DEA, and you take them back, and that's it. You know, you've got hostages now. It's great.
That's it. Yeah, and that's what makes some events really fluid. Is that, you know, when you're given that, you could be doing a standing patrol or a combat patrol in a wood block, and you go out, you discover something, you get on the net, and that could lead on to something else. 1 minute you could be doing a patrol, next mission you're on a mission tasking to hold the position you're at now, because the guys that are actually out trying to find something that you found have got to get to you now and recover that from you for you to continue on. And it makes the event so much better, because there's different alleyways that you can go down. So
yeah, I mean, Ken and I, we years ago, we had it was just a recon mission, go up to the opposite side's fob.
I know this story. I love it.
Couple of hours crawling on our buckles, like right up this hill, having a great time. And anyway, we got right up to their fob, and they were just standing around. And Kenny looked through his sights of his sniper rifle, and he's like, "Oh, damn, they haven't got any eye." And we're allowed to attack their fob. Don't know when I prayed, but here's what it is. So I was like, "Kenny, throw me a knife." So he launched this knife over to me, grabbed hold of it, and ended up that I went round. I managed to knife kill 5 of them, 4 of them standing around a fire. And I went into Topsy's tent and gave him a prod.
He was FaceTiming someone when at the time. No, you're back. You're all right, mate.
Yeah, he was talking to his daughter, I think, and she was like, "Hello, Daddy," and all that. And I was standing outside his tent. And I thought, right, I just lifted up the tent and I went, bang like that, straight into his stomach. And then from there, because fair play to him, he didn't shout or anything, just kept quiet, didn't even shout like dead man or whatever, just kept quiet. I then see 4 guys standing around, Mark, one of them, standing around the fire. And I literally went bang, bang, jumped over the fire and then done the other 2. And they were like, what?
He must have been terrified just seeing his thing come out the flames at you. across 2 of them, yeah, straight over the top of the flames. The other 2, oh, it was wicked. It was. I said, I came back to you, didn't I? I said, right, even if I go home, we'd only been there. You come back shaking. He was the adrenaline from both of them. They were shaking when they got back to our fob.
Because it was my first knife kill as well. I've never got a knife kill before, and to get 5 of them in one I said to Lawrence, if I don't do airsoft anymore from now on, I'm happy. That made my. I said, if I can go home now, I feel happy. Go home. And I've still to this day got that knife, and I've got little 5 little notches in it.
Brilliant, perfect, mate. Yeah, definitely. And then, like you say, it's things like that happen. You go out for a little recce patrol. Turns out you get 5 knife kills. You know what I mean? It's like, pfft. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. How it can all change in that. That's cool. Perfect, mate.
Yeah, right, we'll just move on to the next thing because otherwise we'll be focusing too much on comments. So the next one we're going to talk about is cliques. So don't be in a clique. Basically, there is nothing worse than when you're on an airsoft event and you know, you're in a team. There's like, it might be a mixed match of people that you've not played with before, and you know you've got the 3 guys over there. Well, they've clearly come with each other. They're their own little clique, and then you're in your clique, and then you've got some other people over there.
Yeah.
Try and break down those barriers because there is nothing worse than when you're trying to work as a team, and it kind of goes back to that like mindset thing. You've got to work together. You know, mindset's pretty much the whole thing throughout this. So yeah.
Well, that's a perfect example. Was it my first Longmore event with you, Dan, and David? The four of us, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we were put in with them guys from up north, weren't we? In our billet. I can't remember their name. Mark. I can't remember his last name now. I've forgotten it. But and we got like House on Fire because they also done reenactment, didn't they, with US Marines and stuff like that. So they had some proper.
Just gonna find their RCT 13 MilSim.
RCT 13 MilSim. Them boys were absolutely bang on, and that's when we done that. We did that frontal attack, didn't we, on the houses?
Yeah.
Coming out the woodblock, and I think Legion have got that on their website still, on their Facebook page. That video, bloody brilliant.
That
was good.
We were running across the field, and we were like,
yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
Ground and
that's right. Yeah, Charlie Delta Fire teams just covering, and it was wicked. And that was Pucker. That was, yeah, they were a great bunch of lads. And that's when we done the recon patrol. I think it was 6 hours we were out for.
Yeah,
something like that.
That was when we were like hiding in the bracken, weren't we? We
were laid out in the bracken, and then that patrol of Marines, didn't they? Because the training grounds were right where we were patrolling, was right on the border of the next training ground that the Marines were using. So we were all laid up. Me and Dan were at the rear guard, laid out in this bracken, and then all of a sudden there was about 8 of these tiny little red, I don't know if they were IR lights or what they were, markers or something, but they just come patrolling like 3 or 4 meter spacing between each light, just coming up this track. And me and Dan were laying there going, oh, do we fucking shoot them? Or because there's no other, there's no Blue 4 patrols out here apart from us. So if it's anyone, it's going to be either Russians or like real still fucking Royal Marines. So we were about to shoot them all. I said to Dad, I can't do it. And we just laid still in the bracken. We just laid there. And they just went past, probably like 15, 20 metres to our rear still. And they just went up the side of the boundary fence line like that. And I was just like, my heart's going, sweating, crying nearly. Please don't spot me. Please don't spot me. But luckily enough, whether they probably did see us, I don't know if they did or not, but they just carried on past. And I was just like, oh, God, that's better. But I think that was the same event where they actually got lit up by the Russians walking through the middle of the town centre, I think, in the end. So they did get their comeuppance, but it wasn't from me. So that's what I was thankful for.
No iPro or anything, you know.
No, that's it, yeah.
Regular
that's the trouble. right. Op4's been wearing Op4's been shooting at guys clad in MTP all day, and then a team of MTP clad guys go walking through the village. Op4 must have gone, oh, fucking here we go. Happy days. Oh, no.
I really would love to see that on video. I don't think
I wish I'd seen that. That'd have been pride. I don't know what their reaction was. That Marines were like, what the fuck do they do? I mean, I'd have fucking gone mental if it had been me. Just got up like fucking pistol whipping fun. You want some? I'll give you some. Oh dear.
Oh, so yeah,
but cliques. Yes, cliques. Sorry, on a tangent there. But
that's cool.
Well, it's like also Octo 8, mate, wasn't it? With Marcus, who joined our team following the event. You know, wicked guy. Obviously, come up to the event solo. Well, we were a couple of guys down, so he come in with our team for the event on a PMC role. Got on like an absolute house on fire. Do you know what I mean? Just come over, introduced himself. You know, sat around the fire in the evening, and we obviously got to know each other and that, having a chat, a couple of beers before the event started the following day. And yeah, wicked, top guy. So yeah. Try and avoid the cliques, you know, get yourselves out there. Let's say hello to each other. It's a game at the end of the day. It's a social.
Right. Kit maintenance. Kit maintenance is very, very important.
It is.
So don't just turn up to the event and then get your kit out.
We lost Dan again, have we? Is he gone? Lost you, mate.
Oh, there you are. Hello.
He's back again. Is he there? Hello, Dan.
Yeah, to me, I can still see you. I don't know what happened now. It just went blank.
Yeah, you keep freezing, mate. I think the kids are eating your Wi-Fi up.
Oh,
Go on, Mike. Sorry, you were saying, mate?
No, I was going to tell you, let's just go in the comments while Dan's sorting out his internet just quickly. Rage Files says, judging by the comms meetings you've been sat in for the trust around vaccines and workflow, I reckon it'll be April before we can play.
Yeah. That's a fair.
Mark says, Dan, what's in your glass? That might not be the best question to pull up right now. Stip says, thanks. I think transitioning from skirmish to battle sim to MilSim seems a daunting step, even if you can set up a camp. I appreciate that. It's not. Yeah. I mean, it's not like a oh yeah, you just rock up type thing. But at the same time, just rock up. You'll enjoy it. Just rock up, break down the clique, go and have a chat with somebody.
That's it, exactly, mate. And obviously, and like we've covered previous episodes of this podcast, with regards to what sort of kit you'd need, and we have done one where you'd have like I think it was the 10 sort of essential items, Mike. We done to safely take part in the MilSim. So safety for you, safety for your team, making sure you've got the minimal amount of kit that you'd need to get you through an event. And one point on that step is that you're probably worth taking part in an event that's either sort of like the spring or summer time of the year, mate. So you're not having to invest in like the massive Arctic bags or you know extra sorts of clothing. You can get by with the gear you'd wear to a skirmish event if the event allows it. I mean, if you have to wear NTP and you've not got it, then you have to make a cheeky investment there. But yeah, certainly, if you want to make the transition, mate, yeah, just crack on and do it, mate. You know, like I said, there's plenty of media, plenty of tools out there to help you with understanding what you need and to get you through a weekend event, mate. Definitely, yeah, I'll definitely give it a go. See what you think.
Cool. Ragefile says patrolling stag QRF would be a laugh, and you get what you put in. Yep, completely agree.
Yeah, absolutely, mate.
Toy Soldiers Airsoft Unit. We met Recon Advanced Commando team at an event. Love meeting new people and teams. Yeah, definitely. Just go and have a chat with people. Like, you know, easy question. Oh, what gun's that? Yeah. People love talking about what gun they've got. Would you like a sweet? That one always works. A little bit more creepy if they're younger than you. But yeah.
Why do you say it every time? Just in a nice way.
Genuinely.
It's not like you're coming out a hedgerow at night time.
No, right.
What I mean? With a big sack and a hook. Would you like a sweet? You know what I mean? Not saying it's like, do you want a sweet, mate?
No, but genuinely, the last skirmish event we went to, I was just standing there in a trench with some little kids, And one of them was particularly excited about his rifle, and I was like, "Oh yeah, nice. What is that?" And he just, and I was thinking in the back of my mind, I do have a pouch of sweets, but this is not an appropriate situation to offer kids sweets.
No.
So anyway, Toy Soldiers Airsoft unit currently play at Ironsight and Andover. Amazing players and staff, very friendly. Ever any disputes? Yeah. Just go and see, like, go and meet people. It's so much more interesting when you actually, you can have a bit of chat with the people you're working with. I say working with, but playing.
With people you're operating with.
Yeah,
when you're in the shit and you're operating with some, you want to know where they are.
Yeah, got to work them out.
Yeah. Oh, he's on
the I'm back in. Yeah.
You're in, mate. You're good. He's come up from the log cabin at the bottom of the garden, so he's back in the house. We can hear you, mate. You're good as gold.
Can you hear us?
No, he's just frozen now. Oh dear.
What a freeze pose, though.
Fair play. Sam McGraw, Dan's advertising. Not sponsor.
Yet.
Yet.
Right, yeah, we're going to talk about kit maintenance.
Yes.
I'm going to throw this one to you, Lance, because I know you are super into maintaining your kit. I am less so.
Judging from the story you told me before we went the mouldy berry and glasses strap. Yeah. I mean, that's a big one. I mean, obviously making sure before the event that you've got all the bits and bobs you need. My wife hates me 2 weeks leading up to an event because my shit's all over the living room and it's packed and it's unpacked. It's I'm not quite happy with that. Then I'll unpack it and pack it. And she's sitting there like boiling, like getting redder and redder, thinking I'm going to set fire to all that shit in a minute unless you put it in the cupboard or put it back in the loft or put it anywhere but in here, in my lovely living room. So I just sit there in the middle with the amp on the floor like a child, surrounded by camouflage stuff everywhere. But yeah, it's essential, guys. There's no good getting to an event with just a bag full of just stuff and thinking, I don't know where that is, don't know what this is. Do you know what I mean? And if you've not done it before, then it's a great way of getting to know what kit you got to take and having a list of kit. I mean, I can put a kit list up that we use for our team afterwards on our Facebook page, so anyone wants to reference it, more than welcome to. I'll stick it up on our Facebook page for a kit list and it's a generic one. Do you know what I mean? There's some bits on it you won't need for a summer event, but it's like a whole shebang. So there's bits you can minus off of that list if depending on the time of year you're going or what sort of event you're doing. But yeah, that's essential. And making sure whether you get your riff serviced or whether you do it yourself. I'd love to be able to do it myself, but I have no idea what I'm doing. So I take it to the Nutty Professor in Crawley and he does it for me. So I'll make sure they're all squeaky clean, good to go. And just make sure that you've got everything you need to take part in the event and make sure you're safe and that your team's safe when you're doing it. So yeah, kit maintenance prior to the event is essential.
If I can just throw something out there, which is hydration bladders, definitely keep your hydration.
Clean your hydration bladder.
I cleaned mine for the first time in quite a while the other day, and it was amazing the difference in the taste of water that was coming out of it.
Well, you say that, right? I mean, all I literally do, I never put any squashes or energy drinks or anything in the hydration
No, it's just
bladder.
water.
It's just pure, and I've always and whenever I get back from an event, all I've literally ever done is emptied it out, filled it with water, give it a good slosh, emptied it back out, and I've just left the cap open on the bladder and the straw, giving it a blast out, and I've just left it hanging upside down with the cap at the bottom open, and it's just dried out. And once it's fully dried, when we proper dried out, just cap back on and packed away. And then when I open it again, it just doesn't smell horrid or anything. It just smells like, just a nothing plasticky sort of smell.
Yeah.
And I've never put any detergents or tablets or anything like that in there. And it's always been fine. So, I mean, a friend of mine, Gavin, he had a different story. He's a ex-Royal Marines commando and he's done some other stuff after the Marines. And he told me a story about when he was in Afghan, a lovely friend of his or a lovely colleague of his decided it'd be hilarious to, whilst his back was turned, was to put a big lump of camel shit inside his camel bladder and not tell him about it. So he did a 6-month tour with a big lump of camel shit in his camel bladder and never even fucking batted an eyelid about it.
That's extra protein, isn't it?
Yeah. He said when I emptied it out about 4 months into the tour, the straw and whatever was in it was just pure white, where I'd sucked all the minerals out of everything.
Can you get me now? Am I back in?
You're all squared then.
I had proper issues. I'm down in the kitchen now. I was up in the beauty room up the top of the garden, but it's the internet's crap up there. So
yeah.
Dan, we're talking about keeping kit sort of nice and Dan's fork. Do you want to tell us about your fork, Dan?
Yeah, well, I don't believe in cleanliness really.
For pussies.
Yeah, for pussies. Absolutely. I mean, well, I've had since the very first MilSim we went on. So me and Lance and I, we both were like, right, we've got to get everything. So we went out and spent a load of money.
50 quid. It was all come to 50 quid, Dan. There's people listening in the chat. Steady, son.
So I bought this. It was a knife, fork, and a spoon. All folds down in a little packet, and it's wicked. It just goes in a little pouch. You know, like one of Lance's, not one of Lance's pouches, one of my pouches, and it's absolutely perfect for what I need. And you know, I normally stir my tea with a stick anyway, or whatever. I never
shitty stick,
a shitty stick. And but when I do use it for like the rat packs or whatever, I always just either just lick it clean, or I just fold it up and put it back in the pot. And do you know what? I haven't washed it in about 6 years.
Well, it's the first set you bought. Our first ever MilSim event. He brought it along, and he said, "Look at this." And I said, "That's lovely." And they've never been out of that pouch to be only time they come out of that pouch is for him to use them, stick them in his mouth, and then they go back in the pouch. Unbelievable, isn't it?
That's how I've
just builds up your immunity to everything. That's how he's dodged. He swears that's how he's dodged. The cure for COVID is in Dan's KFS set. That's what we reckon.
Well, it's me. I'm a walking cure.
Walking vaccine.
Walking vaccine. Ready to penetrate. Ready to give the vaccine to everyone.
I'll penetrate anybody. Any of you guys.
Just jumping in the chat just jumping in the chat on hydration bladders. Mark Hutchins said, I use Milton sterilising tablets to clean my water bladder out. I can recommend those because that was what I used when I actually finally got around to doing it. So yeah, highly recommend those.
On that as well, fantastic sniper content, Mr. Hutchins. Anyone hasn't looked at his bits on YouTube, go and have a look.
Yeah, very good, very good.
Hutchie Airsoft Sniper, go and have a look at him. It's fantastic gear he does, so yeah, good on him.
Terry used to put my bladder in the freezer. Yeah, and that's backed up by Barnaby Hill. Bladders in the freezer is another option. Bacteria can't survive.
Lovely stuff.
Not bad, yeah,
great idea.
Do that with your knife and fork set, Dan. Yeah, I'll put your knife and fork set in the freezer when you get in. That'd be all right.
No. they stay in the pouch.
I'd like to know what the content of bacteria is inside the pouch.
Yeah, I'd like to have a look. You don't lick the pouch out before you put the fork in there, do you?
Well, I sometimes have a little go in my tent, but
that's another story.
I turn all the lights off.
That's only for winter MilSims. Keep me warm.
Next on our list was loadouts. So I'm just moving on from the dirty fork
before it gets any worse.
So the next one on our list was loadouts. So props, and sort of the style and look and things like that. So one of the things we spoke about last week was obviously the Airsoft International magazine produced a book on loadouts, which after we discussed it, Lance and I went and immediately bought because we thought we'd probably better have a look at it rather than just advertise something that we hadn't seen at all. But it's not bad actually. I do recommend it.
It's a good for especially if you're just starting out with MilSims and you want to sort of create a loadout for yourself and you're unsure of what bits to go for. And that there's some great examples in there of maybe not the real stuff because that would just cost you a fucking fortune. But something that looks like the real stuff, or something that's a replica of previously issued kit, or whatever it is, then it's a great little reference guide. Really good. Go on. Sorry,
I was just going to say, to clarify, it's not a sponsorship or anything like that. We're not saying go out and buy it.
No, not at all.
Just we saw it and we thought it was interesting. So yeah,
it's definitely worth a look. I particularly like the Scud Hunters 22 SAS loadout. So that was good to look up on.
Yeah.
But
one of the things I want to talk about with this is so for example, the three of us are all on a DEA MilSim relative. I think it was probably beginning of last year. Or the year before. I get confused because it's COVID.
It'd have been July the year before.
Yeah. So one of the things that we did before that was to try and bring a little bit more of our own involvement to the event before the event. So for example, we were trying to make ourselves look more DEA. So we obviously bought DEA patches. We actually went to the effort of making little identity cards that we all had in like little holders on our kit, which I mocked up.
Which I must take out of my gun bag because if I do ever get stopped one day and they see that ID card of me pretending to be in the DEA, I'll be
I don't know what you're complaining about.
We had little.
I was just saying,
We even took. Go on.
I was just saying, I actually came up with a full, complete disguise uniform of like being a Swiss doctor. So I've got a fake Swiss passport. I've got fake Swiss identity cards, and like World Health Organization cards, and all sorts. So yeah,
that's all good. It's all for the event. Yeah, I mean, it's just it's just adding that element to it, which is all cool.
We even made little packets of Coke up, didn't we? And we
thought
we'd plant them on the boys.
That's it, yeah.
It's funny how many drugs we kept finding on people.
It doesn't cost hardly anything, does it? It's just
yeah. I mean, it's good. I mean, obviously, the event they'll have their own props and bits like that. But if you're given a task and a role, like you're going to be a DEA operative or something like that, and you've got some DEA patches. I mean, they were relatively cheap between the team to get them all made up by a company. We had a big green OD green with like the yellow DEA big letters on the back of our plate carriers. And then we had a slightly smaller one which went on the front, and we had them made up out of our own pockets, sort of thing, within the team for the guys for the event, and it looked really wicked. It was really cool.
That's it. They did look good. They did look good.
So I thought
I think it was that event.
I've got someone behind my green screen here, but I can't be bothered to get up. So
I think it was that event. I bought some real handcuffs.
That's right. Yeah.
That was for that. That was that event to arrest people. And,
exactly. Yeah.
I still carry. I'll carry him. I still carry him now. So.
He hasn't quite given up the role yet.
No,
still patrolling the estate with him at the night time.
Yeah. Excuse me, mister. What are you doing? I'm just walking the dog.
No, you're not. Not tonight.
Yeah. Just found a little bag of flour.
Yeah. Oh, what's this? What's this then? I see.
Yeah,
on your dog.
This, concealing this, were you, down your trousers?
But no, I mean, we've got what I can't remember what you call it, like the hostage kits, where if we take hostages or anything like that, we've a few of us are all equipped with like pillowcases and things that we can put on people's heads.
Okay, yeah, I've got some like disc cut and some safety goggles, like the big sort of goggles you use for cutting disc cutters and stuff, and I've just sniper taped them out so they're completely sort of blacked out, sort of thing. You can whack them on, like you say, a pillowcase. We've got some zip ties and evidence bag type things, things like that. All adds to the event.
Was that the one that they had the IEDs as well? Yeah, because I brought along
that was fun to make, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good fun to make.
I bought a Valen metal detector off of eBay, and I was like, because I do a little bit of metal detecting on the side, or whatever. And I took that along, and we were actually like properly sweeping the roads. Which I don't know if anyone's ever played at APOC. There is quite a lot of made ground there, which usually consists of sort of mixtures of rubbles and things that are kind of just thrown in there. There is metal all over the place.
Yeah, it's the grenade pins. It's smoke grenade pins and that everywhere, just strewn.
Yeah. I mean, there's that. There's the blank firers that obviously do the shell ejecting casings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like there was me and a couple other guys who were walking up the road, and honestly, I was just like, I think there might be a mine there. I don't know, because we didn't know what we were looking for. So
sorry, I've just seen Terry's comment about Dan's knife and fork and spoon will defrost the freezer if you put it in there. Yeah, you're not wrong, mate. Yeah, turn all the food in there just to dust.
Yeah, that's it, mate. I might just take a picture. I'll send you a picture, and you can post it out.
I think we should get it swabbed.
I'd like to get it analysed. I'd like to send it to a lab.
Genuinely, I'll pay for someone to test it.
All right. It's 6 years. It's more. No, it's probably 7 years now. No,
7 years. 7 years of gunk on that. Lovely.
We've actually found a new form of life.
That's it. Exactly. There's a couple of, especially after a long period like this, there's probably a couple of mushrooms growing off her, but
not a fault, yeah.
Scrape them off, didn't you?
Just seasoning for your next meal.
That's it. Just stick it in the Rat Pack, mate.
It wasn't originally chicken and mushroom soup, but now it is.
It's now.
Stip says, how many different MilSim loadouts do we each have?
Oh, okay.
Dan, do you want to go first?
Yeah, okay. So we got my favourite one, most favourite is the one that I've worn once and never probably wear again is the Vietnam get up that we bought. Yeah. Cost us hundreds of pounds, but we went and bought the proper chain link to wrap around your neck, bought the helmet, bought the garments, everything, patches, even though I sewed them on the wrong places and got a bollocking from Tony Bassett that you shouldn't have.
Oh yeah, they weren't TBA'd, were they? That's the trouble.
Mate, I got the biggest bollocking for having. I had one patch here that didn't match the patch on my arm, and he was like, "You can't have that." And I was like,
"That's the
oh,
trouble,
Tony.
mate. You get a Vietnam you get a Vietnam reenactor in your MilSim team, and you do a Vietnam MilSim, then you're just absolutely shot to bits." But that's where TBA came from, wasn't it?
That was that was it. That was probably where it came from. But that was probably one of the better, set of clothing I've got. And then the rest of it is just a shed ton of camo and just mix and match, really. So that's it.
Mike?
Woodland DPM is my favourite.
Yeah, it's good. That's for over here in the UK. It's a shame that the Allied, well, I say lots of NATO forces obviously don't use it anymore. Well, generically, there's pretty certain sections that still do chuck a bit on now and again. But obviously, if you're taking part in an event, it's quite rare now that you get to use the Woodland DPM stuff, which is a shame because it's a cracking bit of kit.
Actually, I actually prefer US Woodland, and I think that's just my US heritage coming out a little bit. But I was just totting up while we were talking the list of what I've got. So I've got like a full dark black loadout, which I've used for a police role before.
And will you be delivering milk tray in them on Sunday to me? I'll leave my bedroom window open.
For the right price.
I've got COVID restrictions in place, of course. Face mask, gloves, and all that on.
I've got a full Afghanistan Blue Osprey civilian press loadout that I've sort of been accumulating over a bit of time. I've got a full Doctor, a Swiss Doctor it's Polish camo for some reason, but it's a full Swiss Doctor. I've got even like Doctor epaulets and stuff like that on there. MTP, OD, Woodland, and a PMC one, which is kind of a mix of the lot. So I effectively have 4 plate carrier setups, and then my Falklands one, which is like the harness chest rig.
Yeah, 58 pattern.
Type thing.
Bits and bobs.
So Mike, do you wear them just at airsoft events, or is it something you partake at home, wearing all these different outfits for the wife?
So, right, you're going to laugh, but genuinely, I have been known to play a few Xbox games with my proper helmet set up on, because you could plug the comms into the Xbox.
Wicked. Was that Stone Mountain 64?
Not quite like that, but yeah, pretty much. So I have done that before. It does add to the realism in my mind, maybe.
Fair play. And do you make yourself a little cardboard tank to sit in, Mike, while you're doing this?
Well, I'm trying to save up for a real tank. That'd be even better. But yeah. So,
no, fair play, mate. Yeah, I've just basically got an MTP loadout, Warrior DCS plate carrier. I've got a Condor Light Gunner OD Green plate carrier for like PMC rolls and stuff like that. And like Dan, I've got a DPM Woodland smock and combat trousers, PLC 58 pattern set of webbing for the Falklands events, and DPM PLC webbing set as well. So not a great deal of kit wise, but probably I'd say sort of 3 options available to me with all the bells and whistles on it. So
upcoming, we actually have an episode where we're going to be talking about various loadouts and stuff. So I'll tell you what, we'll try and get photos of all the various loadouts and things that we can put together. And we can talk about them all, because that'd be quite interesting.
The most recent sort of thing we've been doing is, well, the last few years is mix and matching a bit of desert camo and a bit of woodland camo.
That's it.
Like, either desert trousers, woodland top.
Well, it's quite good because a lot of events will still let you wear the desert DPM stuff if you're NATO, obviously. And it's always cool to mix and match that if you can. But I mean, DPM Woodland with MTP. It does go really well.
I like that little loadout is when when you've got that little bit of a mix and match. It looks a bit different, to everyone else, just completely covered in one
dripping
Love it. MTP or whatever. That's it.
Rage asks, how important are loadouts, or should I say uniform clothing? I have all the kit, but be using camo patterns. Do you need camo uniforms to play?
I mean, some events will require you to. No, go on, Mike. No, I was just going to say some events will require you to wear a. Don't start. Don't be like that. All right. You ask the question. All right. You usually say, "I'll take this one."
I'll take this one.
Sorry,
yeah, so basically, some events will require you to wear certain uniforms and loadouts. So Legion, I know, is relatively strict on what you can wear. I know Octo, again, is quite strict. And some of that comes down to the fact that there's also multiple... There's multiple factions and stuff, so you do have to be a little bit careful if you've got more than, say, 2 factions, that you do have some sort of differences between them. I was watching quite a lot of Border Wars videos and things this week because I just thought that it was just something to watch, and I've noticed that they seem to be sort of relatively strict on the camo restrictions and stuff like that. So I don't think it's not important from a you have to be necessarily the exact camo pattern and stuff. Like, you don't all have to be in Cry, multi-camo or anything like that. There's obviously slight variations, and there's usually, like, as the guys were saying, like, you've got the desert DPM or multicam, or there's kind of like variations of things that you can wear.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say is from
also,
trying
if you want to, if
Oh, Dan, you ut Mike off. Fucking hell. Ooh.
No, it's fine. It's all right.
Yeah,
It's all right.
I'm going to leave now.
You didn't tell me the ground rules. I'll go get another beer.
I was just going to finish off.
I'll be very quiet now, Mike. Sorry.
Just going to finish off with saying that it's completely thrown my train of thought now.
Different camo patterns.
Sorry, mate. I'll let you finish off, Mike.
No, it's fine. Yeah. So again, if you're trying to play, if it's a smaller event, for example, like Apocalypse, where you've got, like I think we were like a 6-man DEA team at one point. We were trying to make ourselves look more homogenous as a team, so that you've got more of like a team identity, and that again plays in for the immersion for other team players. When they're playing, they see someone that's very clearly a DEA agent. So that's the only thing I can sort of think of. But I mean, in terms of
that leads back into is putting into the event what you want to get out of it. Do you know what I mean? If you're, I know you've paid to take part in an event, but if you then turn around and they say, sorry guys, but you've got, I mean, at a minimum, I'd expect my guys when we go to an event, if they say, right, it's a multicam loadout that you have to have for the NATO side, so right, fine. I'd expect the guys to have multicam trousers and a multicam top, whether that's a smock or a BDU or a UBAX or something like that. And then if their plate carriers OD green or whatever it is, or they're running webbing, then that's up to them. That, to me, your personal low carrying equipment is your personal preference and what you want to wear. I'd probably say steer away from black, but if it's OD green or desert tan or multicam or whatever it is, and you're running webbing or a plate carrier or a chest rig or leg holster, I mean, I'm not fussed about that. That's your prerogative, whatever you want to do with that.
You can't expect everybody to have a 10 colours of plate carriers, can you?
Exactly. I mean, some people do, and that's fair enough. But I mean, realistically, as long as they've got matching trousers and a top, then that's it. Happy days, all day.
Yeah.
And the other thing,
I was just going to say when I cut Mike off. No, don't you cut me off, Mike?
Payback's a bitch, isn't it?
What I was going to say is, I recommend for newcomers to MilSims. When it's back on, is the War and Peace show. You can go there and you can buy a pair of MTP trousers. You can buy a smock. You can buy everything you need for a MilSim there, and not have to spend a fortune. It's amazing, really. We went there, didn't we? And we were buying.
You could, I mean,
cot beds and all sorts, and it's just
literally like Dan's just said. You could turn up there to the sales area of the War and Peace Revival, which is at the Hop Farm in Tunbridge. It's usually held in August sort of time. You could turn up there with nothing. Literally just turn up with your wallet in your pocket, and you could go to a stand. You could buy yourself a Bergen with the rocket pouches. You could then fill that Bergen with all the kit you'd need: your DOS bag, your bivvy bag, a roll mat, a basher, bungee cords, a cook set. You could get all that stuff, all ex-surplus, all in good nick, wicked prices for your MilSim event.
I mean, they've even got the airsoft guns there as well.
And there's another the back end of it is all airsoft stands and stuff like that. So there's all sorts of bargains to be had there, guys. Definitely worth a look. The War and Peace Revival.
Go there and complete. Yeah, I recommend going, because also not only is it a good day watching all the tanks roll by.
That's it. They've got all the reenactment area and that, haven't they? Definitely, and I think you can camp there as well.
Some of the stuff.
you could go there as a
That's
team,
it.
camp out for the weekend, you know, spend a couple of days at the show, the event. You go see all the big arena. They do all reenactments of Vietnam battles, and they get old Second World War vehicles and that coming in. You can walk around all the reenactment areas that are all been set up. They've got a Black Hawk Down one, which is wicked. There's the down chopper, and all the guys there have all the bells and whistles on. So, yeah, it's a wicked weekend or just a day event. It's really good to get down and have a look, guys. Check it out, yeah.
Oh, yeah, banging.
Yeah, the last point I would just make about camo is that the closer you look to your own team, the less likely you're going to get shot by your own team. Because I know that my green plate carrier made me opt for as opposed to blue for. So.
Yeah, something to bear in mind, and head covering as well. It's sometimes they can be quite strict. Like for Op 4, you're not allowed to wear baseball caps or something like that, and vice versa for Blue Force. It's just something to bear in mind with your head covering you choose to use.
Lastly, I think the last one we had was actually the sort of preparedness. So pre-event, get involved with the Facebook groups online. So it's kind of breaking down those cliques. Going back to the point earlier on. But if there's a WhatsApp group, get involved with the WhatsApp group. Talk to the other people on the team. Introduce yourself. You know, it just helps make it means that basically when you hit the event, you're hitting the ground running. You know, you already know some people.
Yeah. Even if it's just like one or two guys at the group you click with, and you know, there's one or two guys that you've already know for when you turn up there. Especially if you're flying solo as well, chaps. Yeah, it's really important that you get as much information. Like I say, if it's your first event, as much information as you can carry from the event organizer. You know, a lot, like Mike said earlier, a lot of organisers will send out a good sort of in package prior to the event. You'll get it via an email or whatever, and you can read through what's expected of you, what your team's going to be doing, the basic AO, a map, emergency contact detail, things like that. And it's always good to sort of gen up on them little bits and bobs prior to going. Like arrival times and things like that, just so you're all squared away and your team knows what the crack is. And again, like with your team stuff as well, make sure your team's all aware of where you're meeting, if you're travelling up in convoy or set points where you're going to meet up at to get to the event and stuff like that. So
there's nothing worse than getting lost on the way to an event.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you here? I don't know.
Where are you? I don't know where I am. I'm just going to cry in a lay-by.
So the last one, which we kind of did sort of we kind of thrashed around as an idea, which doesn't really apply to a player, but event organisers need to make sure it's a good event as well. So
absolutely.
Give feedback. You know, don't just be like, oh fucking shit. You know, if there was something you genuinely didn't like and you think you could improve, just have a little quiet word with someone and say, you know, that point where, I don't know, we'd trekked through the forest for 2 hours, got to the objective, and then got told that it was lunchtime and we went back to the safe zone for a sandwich. If you didn't like that, just let them know. And it's the sort of thing that, you know, it gives them a chance to change if they want to. And if they don't want to change it, you don't have to go again. You know,
It's it, exactly. Yeah, it's a positive and constructive feedback. Exactly. And a lot of new organisers as well, if they've not done it before, then they're going to really welcome guys saying, look, yeah, you know, great effort, guys. You know, maybe that didn't work as well, but this could probably work. You know, I've done I've taken part in a few MilSims, and you know, maybe perhaps we might want to try that next time and that. But it's all constructive criticism for especially for new organisers. I mean, let's face it, the organisers that have been around for a few years, you know, they've sort of got it sewn up really. That's why their events are so popular. And everyone knows the names of them. So, but there's certainly the newcomers to organising events or hosting events at different sites. They're definitely going to want positive feedback, not just someone on social media saying that was shit, I'm never going back there again, and then saying why it was shit in a really horrible, non-constructive way. Do you know what I mean? Which then sort of ripple effect, butterfly effect. And oh, well, I ain't going there then. Oh, fucking hell, I'm not going there then. Oh, yeah, did you hear about such and such? Oh, we won't do that one. You know, that's not going to help them out. It's not going to help anyone out.
It's easy, like it's just that quick, isn't it? It's just like bang, someone just says a negative thing and they tell 10 people.
That's it, exactly, and it just spreads from there. And it's like wildfire. You know what the internet's like Facebook and all that. It's just nightmare. But constructive criticism, guys, for the event organisers, and obviously praise where it's needed as well, because obviously they're going to want to hear back from you as you enjoyed it and this, that, and the other. So always good to get involved that way, and obviously they'll remember you for next time as well. If you've commented and got involved and offered some advice or your opinion, then they're going to know for next time as well to make sure it's extra special for you.
Extra special.
Ray says, I hear a lot about Facebook groups for events. That sucks for us non-Facebook users. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that is obviously a slight downside if there is an event that's running Facebook groups. I know that, so for example, the Octo 8 MilSim, we're on sort of a PMC chat. Is that, I keep thinking that's on WhatsApp, but it's not. That's on Facebook as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Facebook Messenger. Yeah.
It's Messenger.
I mean, like you just said there, Mike, but then a lot of events you'll go to, if you're put into a section of sort of 8 to 12 guys, they might well have a little WhatsApp group running, which you can get involved in that way. I know a few of the Legion events, when we, especially with RTC 13, we had a WhatsApp group for that, and it was perfect. You know, everyone keeping in touch. Because them guys were travelling down from up north, so they were getting there slightly later or whatever it was. So we could all keep tabs on when we were arriving and that. So that's always good.
Signature.
Can I get that signature?
I don't know what that's about.
I think he means autograph.
Oh, he wants the autograph.
Yeah. I think Kurtz has been at the. I think Kurtz has been at the gin.
No, there was a chat further up. Oh, what was it? Oh, yeah, David.
God.
David said, "Lance, can I get a photo?" So, guys, just to remind you, if you do get out to play with Lance at any point, you need to make sure you ask Lance for a photo.
Lance, stay there. I'm just going to take a selfie. There you go.
20 quid. Yes, David, you may have a signature.
Right. It's in the post.
Or a photo, sorry.
Right, if anyone's getting any last questions in, if you pop them in the chat now, either directly for Dan, or if you want to talk about anything else, or if you've got any thoughts on things that we've missed out on, kind of how to get the most out of a MilSim. Whilst you're doing that, I can remind you that you can get in touch with us at nofochat@hotmail.com. Instagram is November_Foxtrot_nofo. Facebook is November Foxtrot Nofo, and YouTube is November Foxtrot.
Yeah, is he still talking?
Shut up.
I butted in again. I was gonna say, Mike, you could probably talk for about 3 hours, couldn't we? We could just sit here and talk for about 3 hours and still not cover everything to do with MilSim and what's good and what's bad about them and what we can and can't do and blah 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 blah. But you know, we've got through some quite good stuff tonight about what's, you know, with people that wanting to start coming, just newcomers coming in, and you know, that's it. And that's what's great about it, is the people that have sort of taken a step from skirmishing and saying, oh yeah, I really want to give MilSim a go. That's fantastic to hear that there's more people getting involved with it. You know, I love that. Love seeing new people coming along and sort of starting to learn and enjoying the events, and that leads on again. If you're at an event where you're bitching and moaning where something's not gone quite right for you, and there's a guy next to you, it's his first event, and he's going to think, I ain't coming back to one of these if this is what it's going to be like, and that's where you got to think about. I mean, I'll openly admit, I've blown my top a couple of times at events.
We're all guilty of it.
You know, we're all guilty of it, and you don't mean to do it, but I mean, getting lit up with a PKM 5 times after indicating you've been it, you know, that's sort of enough to blow anyone's top off. But there we go, different story. Anyhow, but so you just got to think about, you know, take yourself out for 5 minutes, go back to your fob, make yourself a brew, and just kind of calm down a little bit, because like I say, your actions are going to affect other people's thoughts and how they're going to enjoy the event as well. So it's just and it's a game at the end of the day. Christ. You know what I mean, there's a serious side to it.
It's a serious game.
It's a serious game, and it's real.
That's it. I mean, obviously it has to be organised, but also have
you've got to be able to have fun with it.
Fun, then it ain't worth doing.
I mean, the amount of times we've ballsed up as a team and we just laugh about it and just think,
just laugh. Just literally go back.
Do you know what I mean?
Go back to the fob in the evening, have a beer or something, and just sit down and have a laugh about. Do you know what?
Yeah.
We fucked that up, but hey. It's funny.
Try again a bit. You know what I mean?
Try
exactly.
again tomorrow.
You know, it is a game at the end of the day, and it's there to be enjoyed by everyone. So,
Toy Soldiers Airsoft Unit says opinions on claymores in events. Many use them in MilSims or events. I really like mines and explosives.
I love stuff that blows up. I think it's brilliant. The louder, the better. As long as it's not next to your head.
I don't like the claymores that like open up and then go like with a few BBs in your face. I don't like them. They look crap to me. They look crap. I don't like them myself. What I do like is I like a Beasley 12 gauge shotgun cartridge tripwire. That is they are
the bollocks. They are.
Literally,
few
you
of them.
trip that up, you know.
Yeah, you're not walking away from. Well, you are walking away from, obviously.
Like, oh,
you're not going to lose a foot or anything. Don't worry.
No.
It's a 12 gauge blank round.
I was going to say, for
I'd
anyone that's new to the channel or new to MilSim, they are blanks. They do not fire.
There's no buckshot in it or anything like that. Don't worry, you're not going to lose your toes.
Yeah.
It's a 12 gauge blank round.
Well, at least I think I've cut all the shot out of this cartridge.
James C's late.
Oh,
Look at that. Unbelievable.
Don't worry, James, you can play it all on catch up. We're available on Anchor, YouTube, Facebook. I think that's all of them. Oh, no, Spotify and all of that as well.
There'll be a black dot next to his name on the register.
No, I mean, in terms of mines and stuff, like, genuinely, the most fun I've ever had was the DEA MilSim, where we had the trip mines. They're basically, Lance and Dan made them up. They're basically like these little pressure plate things, like wrapped in a plastic bag, that when you trod on them, they just made a noise. They didn't even go boom or anything like that, but they were just so much fun because genuinely, because
you had a command wire running out to the alarm box, and it was allowed. It was I can't remember what decibel it was now, but it was a proper like a burglar alarm noise with a red flashing light on it. Yeah, proper loud. And the pressure pad, they were cheap as chips off of eBay, I think I got it from, and they were a nursing home, and they go on the floor around residents' beds. So when they're put into bed at night, they can put this pad down. So if they fell out the bed, it makes a connection and sets the alarm off or anything like that. That's the idea behind them. Or they're sort of pressure plate.
And probably sensitive as well, weren't they?
Yeah. So we sort of jimmied them into a waterproof bag, so they could be buried under the ground with a few inches of dirt on the top, and obviously you can still detect the wire that we'd use to run out to the actual sensor. So you could put the pressure plate in one position, and then you could run the actual the bomb, if you like, off to another point. So then that was cool. Yeah, and Mike was Valen to find them and stuff like that.
Yeah. So when we first heard about these, I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting, because I've never done a MilSim with like proper IEDs before. And I'll be honest with you, because we didn't know what we were looking for. I say early doors in the game, we were just like every little bit of metal, just trying to avoid the ground, because we didn't know if like it was.
Well, obviously I did, because me and Dan made it. We couldn't say nothing.
Yeah.
But I was not going to spoil it for the team. I was like, oh, by the way, guys, you're looking for that. It's like, well, no, I don't know.
But at one point, because I was obviously acting as the what are they called? Who's the explosives?
EOD.
Expert? EOD, yeah. So we were actually acting as the EOD, and we wandered off to go and defuse one, and we went and found that, defused that, came back, and on the same path, we managed to tread on the mine that we'd missed on the way there. So literally, we walked over it, and then on the way back, we trod on it. I was like, oh yeah, great. But we did defuse one out of that whole weekend.
Hey, go us.
It was worth it.
Winning. That is a win.
Very good. We'll go to the last question. Toy Soldiers Airsoft unit. Drones with guns will be the next big thing. I'm not such a big fan of these, to be honest with you. I've seen a couple of videos of drones with guns on them, either like the RC cars or the aerial ones, aerial drones. And I just think it takes the fun out of it, to be honest with you. You can't shoot back.
I do.
I like the drones. I like the idea of like aerial surveillance and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love that recon and stuff like that. I mean, you can't, some people are going to be a bit pissed at it. Well, I'll be like, for me, for one, be like, well, I ain't got one. It's not fair. Let's see why I should have one. Do you know what I mean? Not going to lie, it would piss me off if I had a drone going with the camera just like off. But when it comes to like an RC car or something that's got a Uzi strapped to the top of it, and it's just like lighting you up, it's like, can you stamp on it? What can you do? Can you shoot that? Can you shoot back at it? What can you do to it?
I would.
Because I'd be pretty precious over that. Do you know what I mean? I'd be like, hey, well, can you just pick it up and just like hook it on a tree or something like that? Just so you stay there.
No, stamp.
What do you do? It's it's a bit daft, but depends. What again? It's down to the organizer. If they allow it, then they allow it.
I mean, I mean, it's. I think the MilSim and Airsoft as a whole is, you've got a gun, go and shoot someone. And
essentially, the bare bones of it, the bread and butter of Airsoft is essentially it. You have a gun, go and shoot those people that aren't on your team.
It's the same. It's you've got paintball, you've got a gun, you go shoot someone. Airsoft, you've got a gun, you go shoot someone. Don't start flying stuff up in the air and
Rory Milling, boom, wallop.
What are you doing? Don't do it.
Mad.
Yeah, have your thermal cameras and that, because that's wicked. That's
love a bit of that. That's cool. Yeah,
but even some events, some events where you take them out, that makes it more interesting as well. Like if you've got everyone on a completely level playing field. I know you guys are always raving about the Vietnam one. I couldn't make that one myself, but about how the fact everyone had
one of the best.
Iron sights, no optics. You know,
I mean, the only optics on the field were sniper rifles, and I think you could only have one sniper from each section in the field at any one time. Right, if I remember rightly, but there was no scopes on it. We had iron sights, no night tactical lights. It was angled torches only for the US and things like that. And we were allowed floodlights in our fire base, which looked out into the woodland, and that was brilliant. And it added an element of like sort of fear to it, because you'll be there at the fire base at night, and all you'd hear is like the odd stick break now and again, but you wouldn't be able to see where they were with an angled flashlight. Do you know what I mean? There's no way. You just have to wait for it to all kick off. The tracer rounds start coming at you.
The light drop off of those is awful, isn't it?
Oh mate, yeah, it's just like, you know. But and the tracer rounds coming in, because obviously the Vietnam or the MVA were allowed to use red, and the US Marines or whatever it was, we were using green, and just the contrast and that, it was crazy. I mean, it was a brilliant event. It was such a good event. It was really good. And like you say, it's a level playing field. There's no toys on either side. That was it. You know, there was no night vision, no thermal, no scopes, no tactical lights on your weapons, and that was it. Bare bones, nice and easy.
Didn't you just quickly, because we're just waiting for Dan to come in? Didn't you have someone making you dinner the whole weekend that weekend?
I did actually. Fritz, yeah, Fritz was a reenactment with a German Panzer division or something like that, a group of reenactors that predominantly do German Second World War reenactment, and he's the cook in their section, if you like, and he just sort of took it, because I was running the 7th Cavalry side, if you like. He took it upon himself to just be my. Well, to be fair to him, no, not only me. He cooked. We were in a firefight.
Tell him what he gave you.
He did cook me a lovely meal. He brought it out on a tray with a little glass of red wine.
To sit down by yourself, and he brought out. He had a little
towel over his arm. He brought me. He cooked me this meal on billy cans, and hexi burners. Mashed potato, beans, sausages, mashed potato, mixed with onion and cheese. Oh, it's beautiful, lovely food. A little sticky toffee pudding to finish, and a glass of Merlot, which was very much appreciated. And I sat there, and then
he was cooking with bacon.
Well, he done bacon sandwiches one morning, and then after that, he done toast in the bacon fat with jam on top of it.
That's it.
That was good. That was nice.
So this guy paid to go to the MilSim, but literally just decided to cook the entire weekend.
Middle of the day, right? We were having this massive firefight at the fire base, and it's coming in from 360 degrees, isn't it, Dan? And I've looked out the window, and Fritz is sat out there on the floor, down at the bottom of one of the sangers, like into a little corner of the wall like that, with a massive pot, peeling fucking potatoes. With his rounds, and he's sitting there going, oh, there's another one. I'm like, Fritz, get in here for fuck's sake. He's like, I can't move. So I've got all the spuds and I've got the pots and that all around me. I can't move.
He didn't actually play Airsoft, did he? I think he walked out of us like once, twice.
Yeah,
he walked
but
out
and he loved it, and he absolutely. I was like, mate, I said, we had no idea. I mean, he didn't say anything to anyone prior to the event in any of the chats to say, this is what I'm intending to do. He turned up, he brought all this food himself, he brought all these drinks himself, and he literally just cooked and supplied beverages, coffee and tea and everything to the whole 35 people that were on the 7th Cavalry side for that weekend event, or wherever many people were there, from Friday to Sunday, pretty much. And it was, I just thought, fair play to the guy. Absolutely fair play. I think we had a whip round for him at the end.
Proper commitment to the role.
But it was fantastic. It was mad as a box of frogs, don't get me wrong, but it was a brilliant weekend. Fantastic, really good.
Right, well, that's all from us this week, guys. Thanks ever so much for joining us. Next week, we are talking shelter systems, so all things tents, bashers. We'll probably throw hammocks in there as well, because it's sort of nice to.
And bags. Probably talk about bags again as well.
We'll probably talk about bags and feet and boot stuff as well. So feel free to get involved with us next week. Dan, thanks for joining us.
Yes, much appreciated, mate.
No problem.
Top man. Thanks for that, bud.
I've enjoyed it. Thanks again, guys, for inviting me onto it. So
no, that's fine. No. It's all right.
It's good, mate. All good. All good.
If you've got any questions for Dan, you can find him either on the Punishers Z13.
Z13. Just 1-1, Mike.
Sorry, Z13. I've got my own little separate group. We're 100 down. But you can find him on Instagram, or if you've got any other questions for Dan, then just give us a shout, and we can always pass them along to him. But yeah, thanks for joining us, and we shall see you next week.
Thank you very much.
Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.